This is Maundy Thursday, a time to remember the events in the last night that Jesus was with his disciples. In the middle of what was happening, this dispute broke out, and it's recorded in Luke, the 22nd chapter, 24 to 30. Well, this is not surprising that there would be a squabble. They were under a great deal of pressure, and nerves were very thin. A dispute also broke out among them as to which one of them was to be regarded as the greatest. But Jesus said to them, "Look, the kings of the Gentiles lord it over them, and those in authority want to be called benefactors. But not so with you. Rather, the greatest among you must become like the youngest, and the leader like one who serves. For who is greater, the one who is at the table or the one who serves? Is not the one at the table? But I'm among you as one who serves. You are those who have stood by me in my trials, and I confer on you, just as my Father conferred on me, a kingdom, so that you may eat and drink at my table in my kingdom, and you will sit on thrones judging the 12 tribes of Israel." During this life, we're used to the notion that there's a scarcity of most everything. Jesus is saying we need to turn our thinking upside down because in eternity, it's different. Now, this has happened to any parent, to all teachers, and to most salespeople, probably all of them. After a brilliant explanation, and Jesus explained about the abundance of heaven and the lavish generosity of his Father more than once, someone will say or do something that indicates that we're still at ground zero, that they just did not get it. Matthew and Mark tell us that this dispute began with a mother's desire to see her son honored in heaven. She asked Jesus if her sons could sit at the places of honor in the kingdom. Though the story may seem odd, it's really very human. You see, God put this difference deep within us, this hunger to make a difference, to be significant. It's almost a spiritual hunger. Many people say that it is. And for many of us, it feels like we're on a permanent significance diet. Never quite enough, always just a little hungry. You know, if you've been on a food diet along about 2 o'clock in the morning, you just might wake up and you are just hungry, you're starving. And you're not going to sleep again until you have something to eat. Well, this hunger for significance can be like that. And just a couple of hours before Jesus' arrest, the mother of James and John wanted to know that her life had counted for something, and she would know that she was significant if only her children were important in eternity. So she asked Jesus for a favor. He'd already turned her sons down in person, so she asks them, "May my sons sit to the right and the left of you in heaven?" And when the disciples heard that, they just got upset. There was a squabble. It was almost like kids fighting over who has the biggest piece of cake. Now, at the dinner table, ordinarily that's annoying, or it might be funny depending on what happens, but not this evening, because it showed that at least some of them weren't even getting the first things. And if Jesus died with nobody understanding, then his life was a waste. And so he responds actually quite kindly. For who is greater, the one who is at the table or the one who serves? It is not the one, is it not the one at the table? But I'm among you as one who serves. In the 13th chapter of his gospel, John tells us that Jesus washed their feet. This was another thing that Jesus did in order to impress upon them the servant nature of being one of God's people. You see, if we want God to give us peace, we want God to give us strength, we want God to give us honor, that's that old hunger for importance that interferes sometimes with understanding what God is up to. Now, I'm going to ask you a simple question. God, who is already almighty and already all glorious, what delights God's heart? Well, the answer is when God sees acts of love shared between us, of kindness, of gentleness. He gave us a spirit, the Holy Spirit, with 9 fruits that tell us what it is that delights God's heart. God, in many ways, is far more like a grandmother, surrounded by her family, smiling in her heart at the sights and sounds of joy, of the joy of just being together. The next time that you want to be considered important, just keep this in mind. There are places enough at Jesus' table in heaven for all of us to be honored. In fact, there is so much honor. It's like each one of us is the king of our own kingdom. There is no shortage. In the meantime, Jesus came as one who serves in order to free us to be truly significant. Through acts of love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, gentleness, and the rest, others see the heart of God. God bless you.